Good morning, Year 7. So, taking you back to last lesson, what did I ask you to produce, please? Okay, so for the do now, you should have written down that I asked you to complete me a book review last lesson, okay? So that was thinking about the plot of the story and your overall enjoyment of it. Today we're going to do a little bit more of a deeper analysis on the text itself and more specifically on the characters, okay? So what you're going to create for me today are character profiles, and they're essentially just a little fact file about some of the key characters, yeah? And what we're going to do is we're going to compare the version of the character in the real world to the version of the character in the other world. So we're going to think about which parts of their characteristics are different and which ones are similar, okay? So we are going to look at Coraline's mother and her other mother. We're going to look at Coraline's father and her other father. We're going to look at Miss Spinker, Miss Forcible and the other Miss Spinker, Miss Forcible, and then the crazy old man from upstairs and the other crazy old man from upstairs. So what I've done on the next slide is just created an example so you can see how I'd like it to look in your books. But the idea is you're comparing the two characters. So what is similar about them? What is different? So here's my example. I've done it on the other mother. So you would essentially need a title at the top that tells me which characters you're looking at. Then you need to put some pictures in. Now you can either draw these characters, or you might want to do a fancy title that tells me who they are, or you might want to print some pictures off. It's entirely up to you. And you're going to set them out next to each other, okay? Then I want you to write down their name, what their appearance is like, what their characteristics are, and what is their part in the story. So this is Coraline's mother. Her appearance, she has normal eyes. We know that's quite a big thing in the story. She's usually in a jumper and her hair is usually quite messy to show that obviously she's quite disorganised and quite frantic. Characteristics, she's always busy, she's quite grumpy towards Coraline and she never has time for her, and her part is in the story is that she's taken by the other mother in an attempt to trap Coraline. So in contrast then, we have Coraline's other mother, and you can see from the picture she's very different. So her appearance, she's always very neat and tidy, she has button eyes and long claw-like fingernails, which we did a lot of analysis on the other day. In her characteristics, she starts off by being very friendly. Then she becomes a bit overbearing, so she's a bit controlling over Coraline, and then we find out that she's evil in the end. So she has quite a lot of characteristics. So her part in the story is obviously to try and trap Coraline in the other world and sew buttons onto her eyes. So basically I'm asking you to think about, what their role was in the story and how they're different from one another, because we can see from the images and from the information that the mother and the other mother are quite different. So on the next couple of slides, there's just the pictures, in case you can't find any yourself, of each of the characters. And I'd like you to do the same thing for the rest of the characters as I have done for the mother and the other mother, please. Make sure that this is nice and neat in your book. Make sure you put in plenty of effort into it. And then when you've completed this task, you can move on to the Show My Homework quiz.